Well, hello and welcome to Travel Tech US and Canada 2022. Thanks everybody for joining us today. First, I would like to thank all the sponsors for the support and the speakers that will be featuring this event. To learn more about the event that is starting today and upcoming events, please visit Travel Tech profile on LinkedIn and also visit Travel Tech website, traveltech.space and traveltechacademy.com. It's a pleasure to be here at Travel Tech US Canada again. It's my second time as a moderator. I'm Paula. I'm the content coordinator at ASKSUITE, and I'm a former hotelier with a bachelor's in psychology. For those who don't know me, I have 10 years experience in the hospitality industry, and over the last 3.5 years, I've been with ASKSUITE. To sum up, my main goal in life right now is to create quality content to help hoteliers face challenges and educate the industry about the latest trends. And we do that at AskSuite through blog posts, ebooks, webinar series, and our award-winning podcast, Hotelcast, which was named the second best hospitality podcast by the International Hospitality Industry. So it means a lot to us. So thank you, everybody. I also do some international hospitality events, such as this one. So thank you, Travel Tech, for having me again. And yeah, as you can see, we already have all the speakers with me here on the screen. Thanks, everybody. They're here. We're going to start by introducing our speakers. And then afterwards, we're going to have the first round of questions. And if you're watching us now, please take the opportunity to write your question or to interact with us on the chat. We will be happy to talk to you and to answer your questions. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start by saying hello here to the speakers. I'm starting with Deepak Mavinkurve, founder and CEO at KePSLA. So hello, Deepak. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, Deepak, thanks, Paula. And you have successfully... Can you hear me?
Yes, I think it was just a little bit of delay. Sorry.
All right. So yeah, sorry. I was saying, Paula, congratulations on getting my name right, first of all. That was awesome. I had warned you. So yeah, quickly about me and my company, I'd take a minute or so. This is my third startup, so to speak. Prior to this, I founded a company or part of the founding team of India's first online travel agency called Travel Guru. We were Sequoia funded. And at some point, we got acquired by Travelocity, and then we were acquired by Yatra, and then Yatra did an IPO at the NASDAQ. This was sometime in 2014-15. After that, I moved on, spent a couple of years educating myself, did some college and stuff, and then 2016 is when we started KePSLA. 17 and 18 were product and market mix is what we were trying to do, and then the goddamn pandemic hit us, so we are kind of back now in business after 2 years of a lull. We are a 22 member team, very small. And interestingly, we are a 60-40 female to male ratio. So today was all party in our office. So happy Women's Day to everybody who's watching and who's in this panel. We have our office based out of Bangalore in India. Bangalore is in the south of India. That's the tech capital or the tech hub in India. And then we have representation/offices in Ottawa, Canada, in Dallas, New York, and Sao Paulo in Brazil. That's kind of a quick introduction. We work with about 3,118 hotels on last count. We are in 181 locations and about 45 countries. Still small compared to a lot of my competitors in the panel. That's my time.
Thank you so much, Deepak. That was a great introduction. Welcome to Travel Tech US and Canada again. And next, let me say hello to Danica Smith, Director of Product Engagement at ReviewPro. Hello, Danica. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I think it's a super exciting time to be having these panel discussions. So I hope I'm really looking forward to the next 2 hours. So a bit about me, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a Director of Product Engagement at ReviewPro. I used to be an ex-client of ReviewPro's. I used to work for a UK hotel chain as a marketing manager and was a client and became obsessed with guest feedback 10 years ago. And here I am, a decade later, still fighting the cause. So for those of you that don't know, Shiji's ReviewPro is the world leader in guest intelligence, and we've been around for over a decade. We're part of the Shiji Group, which is a global organization that really provides a complete suite of technology solutions. And we work with over 65,000 hotels around the world. And we really help consolidate and really have one clear objective. And that's to help our clients drive and improve the guest experience and satisfaction. So how do we do this? Well, Shiji's ReviewPro has been dedicated to helping our clients deliver guest experience through a number of different powerful tools. So all managed from one central dashboard. It means that any accommodation provider can really dive in to understand what's happening with guest trends, behaviors, and really push the guest experience forwards. So that's it from ReviewPro as our introduction, and really excited to get into the questions today. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Danica. A lot of people are saying hello. I would like to say hello. People from India, Mexico, Brazil, have Cancun, Mexico, California. Thanks, everybody. It's so cool to see everybody interacting in the chat. Please keep doing it. We love it. Next, I'm going to say hello to Adele Gutman. Adele is the host of Get Great Reviews, the podcast, and authority on hospitality and reputation marketing. So hello, Adele, and welcome to this forum.
Hello, Paula. So wonderful to see you. And thank you so much for having me. I am obsessed with this particular topic and have been since 2000, when I began as the VP of Sales, Marketing, and Revenue for the Library Hotel Collection. And it was also the year that TripAdvisor was born, by the way. And as soon as I realized the connection between how far we're up on the rankings on TripAdvisor for New York and how that translated to our phones ringing off the hook. That's how long ago it was. I would talk about phones instead of computers, but it was just amazing how it makes your reservations fly. So for a purely sales, marketing, and revenue standpoint, I suddenly took over and added to sales, marketing, and revenue the guest experience, because it is not reputation is not a footnote at the bottom of your sales, marketing, and revenue strategy. It is the foundation on which all of your strategies will thrive if you do it well. And we were able to set a goal of being on top. And we were number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 in a row on TripAdvisor, and stayed pretty much in that area for 15 years. And they said we couldn't do it in Europe, but that hotel, the Aria Hotel in Prague, became the number 1 in the Czech Republic, the Aria Hotel in Budapest, not only top in Budapest, not only top in Hungary, but the number 1 hotel in the world. And our friends at ReviewPro said year after year, we had the highest guest satisfaction rating of any luxury hotel brand in the world, out of all those really famous, iconic brands. And we were not some super luxury brand. We were just sweet little hotels. Actually, we had some big, some medium, some small, but the experience and the culture and what we were willing to do to, once we hear about a problem, solve that problem. That is what I call the 5-star review system that I created. And so now that I'm no longer at the one hotel, my dream is to be able to help thousands, maybe millions of hoteliers if they would listen to the 5-star review system and of course, Get Great Guest Reviews, the podcast. I hope to help everybody learn how to really inspire 5 stars.
Thank you, Adele. Let me say hello here. People still saying hi to us. So hi from Italy, Argentina, Jamaica, Portugal. It's all around the world that it's really cool. If you have any questions to our panelists here, please also write down your question in the chat and we'll be happy to answer during the forum. Next, let me say hello to Luis Brites, CEO at Clever. So hello, Luis. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, Paula. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, for the invitation to be. I think it's my third presence in travel tech along those years. So very happy to be here, and it's a great honor to be this panel with such fine companies. And we are talking a little bit about myself. I'm an economist. I didn't start working in hospitality. I started working on the banking and insurance companies, so quite different. Then for a surprise in my life, there was an executive search process, and I was hired to manage a group of hotels. It was my entrance to this world, and I never get out of it. Now, for the last 13 years, I'm in the tech companies that serve hospitality. I am talking about the last experience. From 5 years now, I am one of the co-founders of Clever Hospitality Analytics. Clever is still a small company when compared to you guys. We are the market leaders in our country, yes, but of course it's quite a small market. We are starting to have international clients. We have 4.5 years of existence. We dedicate to analytics and BI for hospitality. So we have, I can call it an innovative suite, meaning that we can connect a property in like 2 days and have the first results, the first dashboard, the first information that quickly. So it's quite a different approach, and we are experiencing interesting success in our country. So we are starting to get more clients in other countries, Spain, for instance, in Brazil also we are starting. So glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and let's have a great talk between ourselves and who are seeing us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luis. And next, let me welcome Rupert Gutteridge, Head of Sales at OAKY. So hello, Rupert. Thank you so much for being here today.
No, Paula, thank you very much for inviting me along here today. It's very exciting, especially exciting to see all these names popping up from all around the world saying hello and being part of this wonderful talk today. So just a couple of minutes on me, I suppose. 25 years odd in the travel tech space, doing everything from working with Oracle and Ideas and Guestline and various others. Started way back when technology was a lot of premise-based stuff, and over the recent years we've seen the migration to cloud, which has really helped companies like OAKY provide good integration to many other systems, many of whom are here today. What OAKY does traditionally and does very well is, obviously, for those that don't know, it's basically an upselling tool, but it's an awful lot more than that, because it's making the customer journey much stronger, much better. It's making the life of the front office staff, the reservation staff, much easier because it's automating a lot of processes. So it really is one of those lovely pieces of technology that goes into hotels and is a bit of a win-win. It helps the staff, it helps the guests coming to stay at the hotel, and various other bits and pieces, making their journey better and everything else. I won't go through all the details because people don't really want to know that, but some clever segmentation means that I guess what it's really doing very well is offering people the right sort of upgrade at the right time, at the right sort of price, but through clever integrations with many of our partners. Some of, as I said, are here today. So looking forward to speaking about it today. And if anyone has any questions, as Paula says, just get on the line and post us your questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rupert. And finally, we have also Rodrigo Teixeira here with us, co-founder and CEO at ASKSUITE. So hello, Rodrigo, and welcome to Travel Tech US and Canada.
Hi everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you and all the qualified travel tech audience. So I'm the CEO at ASKSUITE. Our mission here is to empower reservation and revenue teams to increase direct bookings and revenue through better service experience. In 4 years, the company have been helping more than 1,800 properties and served more than 30 million travelers. We won the Hotel Tech Awards for the third year in a row as the world's best chatbot for hotels. And yeah, I hope to contribute today. And finally, congratulations to all the women for their special day, Paula, Danica, Adele. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. So let's get this started because, as I said, we have a lot to cover, a lot of people watching us. So that's really good. Please write your questions on the chat and we will do our best to answer you. The topic of this forum is enhancing profitability and culture through guest experience and reputation optimization. And so this is how it goes. I'm going to ask a question to each of the panelists, and then we can discuss a little bit about it. And then we go to the second round of questions, okay? So I'm going to start with the first question goes to Deepak. And we start by asking you, how do you drive people and process excellence using guest intelligence?
Super. Okay. Thanks for the question, Paula. First of all, as an organization, we look at ourselves as a business intelligence tool rather than just focus on reputation. So when you go into a corporate or a hospitality industry and say we are a business intelligence solution, the typical requirement that our customers want from us is how can you grow our productivity or profitability? And this can happen one of two ways as a business intelligence tool. One is, of course, how do you grow revenues, or two is how do you reduce cost? And this is something that is kind of kosher in our business. This is part for the course. So everybody in this space come into a business intelligence solution having these two as their core competencies. One of then the third part of this triangle in some sense is what is very unique to our business, which is quality. So it's easy to maybe grow productivity. It's probably a little easier to reduce cost and then improve your top line and bottom line. But how do you increase or improve quality, and at what point do you realize that your customer is willing or not willing to pay for that quality? So these are questions that we keep grappling with, and when we answer it through solutions like what we have, I believe a lot of time we come up with solutions that are very tactical rather than strategic. How can I solve a problem forever rather than looking at a metadata of 20 reviews or 50 reviews or 100 reviews and going back to the hotel to tell them, hey, this is right and wrong with your business? Of course it improves your rating and ranking, but is that all that we can offer to the business, is the question that we keep asking ourselves. And what we thought of how we should get to the next level as an organization, and that can help hotels and hospitality, is not by trying to be doing a CRM solution, doing a mailing solution, doing a marketing solution, etc., but seeing how can you close the loop in every problem that the client is facing. Are we as an organization able to do that effectively? So one of the ways that we thought that closing the loop means that you have to involve the entire organization to solve a problem. So it's not just about the senior management or the mid management that sits on their corporate floors and looks at a reputation management tool and says, hey, here is a problem and we need to solve it. Rather, go to understand the 360-degree of the problem. So one of the things that we've been pushing and suggesting and doing very successfully is also implementing what we call the voice of the employee. So every time there is a voice of the customer that comes in with a bunch of issues, challenges, problems, positivity, etc., how do you correlate that to the voice of the employee? And when you put that metadata together, there is a whole bunch of solutions that you find, which could be development related solutions, tactical issues that can be solved at the workflow at that point in time, or larger strategic decisions. So I wanted to come in and kind of set course for this for this program to say that, hey, if we are today talking to hotels and saying that as a product, I'm going to be improving your revenue or reducing your cost, that's kind of standard. You are supposed to do that. How can you go 1, 2, 3 levels beyond that and provide solutions which bring in excellence at a people level, at a process level, and hopefully at a technology level, because we provide some bit of that technology ourselves. And the best way to do it for me is to involve the entire organization in ensuring that excellence becomes not a transaction, but gets into the DNA of the organization. This is what I wanted to convey across the 4 minutes that I have. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Deepak. I see Adele was clapping a little bit there. Adele, wanna add something?
Deepak, that is absolutely, oh, you're just my new best friend now. I absolutely love what you said. How can I solve the problem forever? And I feel that this is really something that is a systemic problem, that in the hospitality industry, we believe that when somebody comes up to us with a problem, our job or our desk person's job is to solve that immediate problem in front of us right now. But few people are bothering to go back, explore the root causes, collaborate with your team, because they are so wise and they observe these problems every day. The same pain that your guest is feeling when their face drops and your staff member has to resolve that issue, you not only have a friction point for your guest, you have a friction point for your team member. And that is sending your team members running for the door, by the way. So the best thing that you can do in order to make more money is, reduce that turnover cost, both for the guests and for the employees, by solving the problem. Forever is a big word, but I'll take it. I'll take it. But you know what? Some people won't even think about solving a problem because they believe that the problem is too insurmountable. But just relieving the problem by 20% or 10% or even 5%, if you're on a culture of collaboration, caring, and continuous improvement, and you fix things 1% at a time, over time, you're having phenomenal results from that. And your customers and your team will tell you exactly what you need to work on. What are the problems at your hotel? Because what matters to your hotel, not exactly the same thing that matters to the customers of another hotel. All customers have different preferences. That's why there are different businesses. Anyway, I've said enough, but thank you. I love everything you said, Deepak.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you.
This is a learning. This is a learning from the Japanese TQM, right? Total quality management, where they said quality grows downwards rather than it grows. It can be thrust down up from the senior management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you both. I think that's a really good point of view that maybe people don't realize, that it's like the pack said, it's an entire organization must be involved. And then, as Adele says, sometimes we think we have to do something huge, and if you just improve a little bit, and it will have great results as well. Okay, next question then. We go to Danica. Danica, how can hoteliers guarantee the operational success and delivery of their revenue initiatives?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say I'm so happy that the title of this forum includes guest experience, because for me, any profitability or revenue initiatives has to always put the guest first, okay? And that needs to be, no matter what discussion, no matter what stakeholder is having that business, guest experience needs to be at that table. I also, before I answer the question, I just want to give a very big shout out to all of the hoteliers, because we're all technology providers, and we've all seen from our clients what a difficult 2 years it's been, whether it's COVID or staff shortages, and the resilience and grit and innovation and creativity that's come from our organization in the past 24 months is just the best that we've ever seen. So thank you and well done to all hoteliers for keeping going. Let's be fair, the operational realities that hotels around the world, Europe, US, APAC, what we're facing is really difficult. So when you look at driving revenue initiatives, it's really important you can guarantee and secure operational success. You know, we at ReviewPro, at Shiji's ReviewPro, we are now in the whole guest journey. So we have solutions to help pre-stay, upsell revenues, working with partners like OAKY. But at the end of the day, if you have such amazing revenue initiatives, you know, if you have 100% occupancy on a Friday night and on Sunday you have 50 bad TripAdvisor reviews, your business is not profitable that Monday morning. So it's really making sure that when you're putting together these revenue initiatives and strategies, you always think through the workflows, the foundations, and the processes to be able to secure the operational reality. You know, for example, unfortunately, we have clients, a London hotel chain in January, 80% of their staff were off sick with COVID. You know, they had 80% occupancy, so they had to make the decision of closing down floors. So that's why it's super imperative that you have guest intelligence. So with ReviewPro, we have all of our guest intelligence using, for example, all of the online reviews, but also the PMS data. So using our guest intelligence, it really supports our clients to make those decisions. Okay, I have to close off 20% of my inventory tonight. What rooms am I going to prioritize? What rooms am I going to close off? Exactly the same as if you have launched an initiative to do champagne packages pre-arrival. How are you going to make sure that when that guest checks into that room, the champagne is there in this beautiful display, and guarantee that? Because unfortunately, in 2022, not just because of COVID, but where the guest behaviors and guest expectations are, you cannot afford to miss that, guarantee that operational success. So you really need to look at your processes and make sure that, one, they're in place, but two, they're flexible. What happens if 80% of your staff tomorrow are off sick? You know, what happens? We know the turnover that the industry is facing regarding staff turnover. So you have to make sure that not only do you have the right processes in place, that they're flexible, you know, and that's where automation comes in to really support hotels to make sure through things like case management, for example, you can have escalation. So if I purchase you know that I'm staying in room 219 and you have offered me an upsell to a gorgeous alfresco balcony experience and it's raining when I arrive, you need to have the workflows in place to make sure that concierge are there with umbrellas holding all night if I'm staying at a property like One and Only, for example, or if I'm more in a not such luxurious, what are you going to do to help me? And that's the issue that the industry is seeing in 2022. We have these amazing revenue initiatives that are being driven by guests and companies that are taking the pre-arrival experience, doing really cool creative things. But unfortunately, for many hoteliers, they're struggling to guarantee that. And at the moment, they need to be looked at side by side. And that's really what it's about, engaging all stakeholders within the business. You know, in the past, revenue initiatives sat with the commercial team, sales, revenue, and marketing. It was very rare that you would bring in a front of house into that or housekeeping into those conversations. But now when you look at those strategies, you need to be looking at the guest journey from start to finish and walking it through literally step by step to make sure the housekeeper on property on that day can deliver and secure that revenue initiative that's been put in place. And that's what it's about with technology providers. You know, that's where you get OAKY, who do the best at pre-sailing and doing the pre-sale, upsell, making sure they integrate with ReviewPro that do the guest journey and do the guest experience to really help the hotel have the confidence that this is going to work. And then, like with anything, you need to have the reporting. You need to have the visibility and the reporting to see How is it working? Was it success? And how did it improve the guest experience? You know, we know your online reputation has a direct impact on your average daily rates and your RevPAR and many other revenues acronyms. So it's really important that we're closing the loop and not just looking at how much money we can make pre-sale during the stay. So that's why I love the title of this, because it combines revenue, profitability, and guest experience. And it needs to be those three pillars.
Yeah, they have to be connected. It's no point to just focus in one. People were saying some comments here. One said, well said, Adele, from previous comment, Adele. Deepak, have one for you. It's good to visualize bottleneck, but it's important to understand intent and give one or more action to do from existing data from all data source. It's Rashid who is saying this. Thank you for your comment. I think it goes aligned to with Danica, what you're saying. Correct me if I understood wrong, but it is important to have the data so you that can take the right decisions. And again, it's the decision that it's being made everybody have to be involved. I think that's something that is being common to all the questions, I think.
And putting the guest first. It needs to be about the guest experience and making the guest happy.
Yeah, and then I have one question here. I think it's for you, Danica. Rashid saying, why there is no revenue initiative to make more cross-selling with partner? Because property can be viewed, link the first influencer to be the advisor. I think he's talking about, cross-selling.
Cross-selling from one brand to another. Yeah, and I think that's where, hotels today need to, especially in the context of the OTA but direct conversation that's still, 10 years on happening, we need to look at how we can be creative in our guest communications in order to provide cross-sell, upsell, loyalty, drive the guest experience. And that's something where the role of guest communication no longer just sits with marketing. It needs to also have that operational guest experience strategy as well. And that's where you can kind of do things like, I think what Rashid is asking about, cross-sell, upsell, for example, in a post-survey response, why not say, if they're positive and they're a passive, they're a promoter, and then this template that promotes my other properties in the brand, for example. So there's those kind of things, if that's what Rashid's question is, that there's initiatives that you can put in place.
Thank you, Danica. Sorry, go.
Paula, if I can answer Rashid's question to me.
Sure.
Rashid, I think that's, like I keep saying, that's kind of a par for the course. So when we present data to the customer, there are dashboards. The dashboards are giving a lot of insights into what's right and wrong with the business, which is, of course, why we are all here in business. I'm trying to take the conversation to the next level to say that there is enough analytical data that can be churned out by your AIs and ML that we all have inside our system. But what next? And how do we build that across the organization, and not just to people who have access to our data? I don't know if the doorman has access to our data. How do you make sure that the guest feedback is reaching that person? I'm just giving an example, but the idea is that when you involve everybody, dashboards, of course, that anyone can see on your mobiles and take inference out of. But I want to take this to the next level. That's all I mean. Of course, your visualization, data visualization, and dashboard is extremely important.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Let's go to the next question then, and it goes to Adele. So Adele, what does reputation and guest experience have to do with profitability? And why it is so critical for today's hotelier? And what is the most important thing hoteliers need to know to get started?
Well, let's just talk about it, because we all say that we all know that the guest experience and guest happiness equals great profitability, that's a direct thing. It is obvious to many, but you know what? If it was really obvious to many, wouldn't the hospitality industry have consistently 90% plus guest satisfaction scores instead of in the 70s and 80s where we often find it? There is somehow kind of going back to what Danica was saying, there can be a disconnect between what sales, marketing, and revenue is putting out, or what they're saying, what the executive office believes is true about the experience they offer, and what the actual guest thinks that the reality of what their experience is like. And we need to find those gaps and close them every day. We need to have a alignment in our culture that has to begin at the top. Now, I was bragging on, the great success that we were able to have at my past company when we decided to make our goal as a whole, making sure that 100% of our guests leave happy. If every single person believes that that is their job is not to hand out keys. Their job is not to serve food. Their job is not to clean the room. The job is, I participate in making every guest happy by ensuring that this room is going to be so beautiful and fresh smelling and delightful when they arrive. I'm going to make sure that the lobby is beautiful and smells great when everybody arrives. I'm going to greet everyone with a warm, a genuine hospitality welcome and a big smile. Even if I'm talking to somebody on the phone, I know that my life is frantic, but I'm going to be calm and I'm going to be excited for them. They just called to make a reservation. I'm going to be so excited for them, and I'm going to give them the best advice. And maybe I'll have a great tool like ASKSUITE to compose everything for me, so it make it easier for me, so I don't have to do the technical part. I can just give the beautiful delivery part. But if you don't have it in the hearts of your team, why not have everybody go rewrite their job description based on how they play a part in making sure you have 100% guest happiness? Because do you want 50% of your guests to come back? Of the hotel guests you have in-house today, do you want 75% of them to come back? Or do you want 100% of them leaving saying, I love this hotel. It may not be the fanciest, but they made me feel like a VIP. They made me feel like the most important guest in the hotel. I had all these access to all these experiences that made me happy. Everything was fresh and clean, and the people were so kind. If you look at reviews, what people really love are the people themselves. So you have to energize. If you're at the top of if you're a leader, you have to dream that dream of that 100% guest satisfaction, what that looks like, what that feels like, what does that review sound like when it's on the paper, and share that dream every day with your team. That's the most important place to start a reputation cultivation plan. And it works like crazy. And you have to empower your team to make problems go away, because they have to learn to identify themselves as creative problem solvers. So that is the best place to start. Did I answer the whole question? And the reason why? Because you want everybody coming back to stay more frequently, to stay longer, to have an upgraded experience, and to bring back all their friends, and to write great reviews to attract everybody else from coming in. And you know what? Every single hotel has some level of 5-star reviews. So you all know how to do it, but now you have to do it for everybody. That's it.
Yeah, I love, Adele, what you mentioned, that everybody should be a problem solver. I think this autonomy is lacking so much when I see other hotels. I don't know your opinion, but I see this is one of the parts that general managers miss to give them the authority to take decisions, and then everything's like I have to ask, and then everything never solve or take too long. Do you see that this is a problem, and why is the problem?
Because first of all, I'd like to eliminate the word reputation management from the face of the earth. It should be reputation optimization, as we had reputation cultivation. It has to be a positive thing, not a control thing, but an empowering thing. And remember, technology story. My husband bought a jacket, didn't fit. No, it didn't come. It didn't come at all. And so he tried to get FedEx. FedEx wouldn't answer. Finally, he just called Walmart. And the technology said, "Oh, is this the purchase you're talking about?" Yes. Was it okay? Or what was the problem? Did it not arrive? Was it not the right size? And he said it didn't arrive. Would you like a refund for that? Yes, I would. Boom. He got, okay, your refund's been processed. Is there anything else I can help you with today? That's it. It's not the technology that delivered the great experience. It's the smart human at Walmart who said, it is more important to have a customer for life than it is for me to get that $50 and argue and try to figure out where that package is and all this other things. They put the customer first. It's that culture. It's that commitment. It's a philosophical commitment that has to be talked about morning, noon, and night. Compassion for your customer. And then now me and my husband are talking about that all day long because they care about us. Why wouldn't I want to shop at Walmart if they care about us like that?
That's a great example. Adele. Thank you. I don't know if anyone is echoing. Maybe some sound. Yes, thank you. Now I can hear. Otherwise, I no one be able to talk. Sorry. But Adele, I think you're spot on. And I think it's more important, like you and Danica said too, customers first, the guests first. So you just wanted to fix a problem. It was easy to fix and have the technology to do it, but have the decision before to say, if this is a problem, just do it like that. And yeah, it's a great example. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next one. We still have a lot to cover, and people that are watching us, please send us your questions. We'll be happy to answer you. Next one goes to Luis. Luis, so customers, we're talking about expectations here a lot. So customers' expectations are rising exponentially every day.
Yes.
So how can hotel companies rise up to the occasion, especially after the pandemic crisis, negative impacts in revenue?
Yes, Paula, and it's I'm very glad and excited to see that there are common touch points between what Adele just said, what Danica said, what Deepak said. It's very interesting, and I think that technology has an important part to rise and to improve the customer experience. But as Adele was saying, the human factor, the processes factor, and to give, as Danica was saying, to give the operational team the resources to do their best to have success in the operational. And what Deepak also said, the intelligence between all that, I think it's on the mix of all those things that you can improve customer experience. I have some numbers, and they match with what Adele was saying, that the most important attribute of the customer experience, 75% of the study said the fast response time. That's what Adele and her husband had, fast response time. The second one is consistency across channels, with 55% of positive answers. But to have consistency across channels, now technology starts to enter. Because if Adele and her husband received a different response from a person and a different response from other channel, for instance, a chatbot, for instance, that would make the experience not very positive, because say, what are these guys saying to me? One says one thing, the other says another. And that's unfortunately, I think it's still common on nowadays to happen in our own customer experience, which is different than customer service, as we know. And the third question, the third aspect, more with more value in this study, is knowledgeable staff. And sometimes in hospitality, there are some problems that probably you have heard already, and I think that intelligence, guest intelligence companies can help a lot. Sometimes you have in the reception, you have a person that is working with you in the hotel, and when he opens the profile of the guest, you don't see one profile, you see several profiles of the same person. So that's the main problem to elevate the culture, as Adele was saying, the culture, and like a philosophy aspect of having a guest at your desk is to have the right information, concentrated information, and one profile for that guest. We often assist there are like 10, 12, 20 profiles created for the same guest. So it's quite difficult to give a good service and to elevate the customer experience based on that. So we are not, as Danica was saying, we are not giving the operations the tools that they need to be successful and to have success in a daily operation when the guest is on your property. I think that's where technology can help with the profile tools that exist now in the market, several. Profiling tools that can concentrate all the information of the guest in one profile. So your team that is on the operation or reception, on the restaurants, on whatever service that we are offering in our property, have only one profile to satisfy. And that profile must have what is important for that particular guest. He likes Asian food, he likes European food, whatever. What are his expectations that are increasing? So according to the question, Paula, that you put on the table right now, I think expectations of the customers are increasing every day. And possibly the unfortunate almost 2 years of pandemic crisis increased those expectations. They're not diminished, they are increasing every day because a lot of things happen due to the pandemics. For instance, I think Rodrigo can talk a lot about that. For instance, a lot of new services and a lot of crossing different channels of communication to get to the same customer. So you reach your smartphone and you want things to happen. As Adele was saying, through the smartphone, things happened. So that's the expectation nowadays. But in my vision, our vision, for that to happen, you must know the person, the client, the guest that you are talking with. If you don't know it, for us, this is a basic process. So the work on the profiles, and that's the technology, the tech part that we can, all of us, we are tech providers, we can help a lot, is to concentrate the information about the guest and all the data sources that you can gather, not only what you have on your PMS, on your operational system, but all the data sources that you can gather and see that probably this guest is going to value this action. So I'm working in this property. I'm going to perform that action. For almost for sure, the guest experience will be elevated, will be better, and with that we can reduce churn, we can increase loyalty, we can get the guest again in our property. So we are increasing revenue. Nothing against hotels. Nothing. But of course, if you get direct customers to repeat the experience in our properties, we are increasing revenue and we are giving a better customer experience.
Thank you, Luis. Rashid is saying here what you're saying. It's important to have tools that can aggregate all the information. I think that's it. I think nowadays it's easy to have a lot of information. That's not the problem anymore. The problem is how to use it and how to unify. And that's when I think hotels still struggle, even though we have the technology at the disposal, right?
I think, Rashid, that the key word is aggregate, because you have a lot of information. You can have huge tons of information, but how can you aggregate it on that, let's call it, to simplify, that guest profile, all the information that is important for that guest. Aggregate is the word, and I think that's the part, our vision, or the part of technology is that one. It's to aggregate, to give all the intelligence to the user, to empower people in their work. So that's our task: aggregate the information in an easy way. You must, at least we feel that in our day-to-day with our customers, is that we need to deliver the information. The customer is not going to spend any more time searching for information. The information must come, the data must come, the intelligence must come to the user, and he is not having the time to search for the intelligence. So I think that's aggregated. That's the word, Rashid. Thank you.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
You know, because you mentioned the communication and having all the information about the customer, but we also need to have all the information about the hotel. And although we don't have here a technology system representative that talks about the internal communication, we have all been there when we've seen that there are 17 different versions of the form and we've changed something, but everybody saved it to their own hard drive. And we don't have like in most hotels, a one-stop where everybody has the freshest information, where they're alerted to fresh information, where somebody's telling the story about why we changed from this way to this way, so that everybody, you know what, I once walked into a hotel and the room wasn't ready. And I went up and I asked the bartender, where is that terrace that I saw in the brochure? And he said, I don't know. And it was literally around the corner. They are so siloed sometimes with information. My job is to cut these lemons. And we don't give our teams understanding of the way the whole operation works and what is going on in these different areas. We have to address every single person as they're a future general manager, a future hotel owner, a future VP of marketing. We have to give them all the good information about the hotel so that they can answer a question when it's asked of them like that, and have it available on their phone. Not if they're a deskless employee, that should not have happened. That happens every day, and we really need to communicate. We need to give all the information about the guests, but we also need to give all the information about our own hotel. You are a mini general manager. You are a GM in training for this hotel. I want you to know how everything works and how we make good decisions here. And that way you can be 100% helpful to guests.
That's a great example, Adele. And then, yes, it happens a lot. Sorry, who is saying something?
I wanted to ask Adele a follow-up on that question, Adele. So in this, I mean, it may be a trivial example, but this I don't know problem that came in, right? Where in the system does this get recorded, and how does this issue get solved? So, you know, it can be the end of the transaction because this person has said, I don't know to you, and you've had a bad experience, and that's the end of the transaction, right? But whatever tools you have, how can this get recorded?
You know, it's a really good point, because I'm always saying in the reputation world, I don't really see a way of anything that tracks this 360 view of what feedback we have coming into the hotel, except if it's online feedback, unless it came in through our messaging system or something like that. But if somebody just shares a complaint with the front desk, or in a phone call, or in an email, or in a text message, I don't actually have a way of tracking how did we let's investigate this problem, what caused the problem, what are the options for solution, let's implement it, and let's see if this problem goes away. We only have how to follow online review, creating a ticket, not verbal, not offline or email or text messaging. I would like to have a system that lets me see my complete picture of guest issues.
Can I add about, because I think the question
Yes.
was, how do you manage guest expectations? And I think it's really important for hotels to just take a breather. And I think honesty and transparency is key. So if you know that, you don't have the staff that you need to deliver the right guest experience that night, obviously with training and support, it's really important that when the guest arrives, you can be open and honest about that, and set those expectations accordingly. If you know that your bar has to close at 9 p.m. because you don't have the staff, it's really important that you communicate that to the guest pre-arrival, highlight how you've secured a partnership with the quirky, cool, independent bar across the road. And that's a great way of how you can set those expectations pre-arrival. And that's really important when we talk about guest satisfaction, online reputation. It's all about guest expectation management. And now we have the tools and technology to be able to talk to guests pre-arrival and set that accordingly. So I think it's really important for hoteliers not to be afraid to be transparent and open about their operational realities, especially in the US and Europe. It's in the news every day. In the US, 60% of hospitality workers didn't return to the industry post-COVID. That's been in the news. That's a known fact. It's okay if my mum goes to stay to your hotel to just say, listen, I'm really sorry, we're a bit short, so there might be a bit of delay, so would it be okay if I can book you in for breakfast between 10 and 11? No, you want to go at 8:30? Okay, not a worry, I'll make a note. But you need to try and adapt accordingly, and as opposed to just being scared and not saying anything. So I urge hoteliers to kind of take that approach. Guests, we're all guests, we're all consumers, we're all people. Like, we don't expect, especially with what's going on in the world, we're humans at the end of the day. So just have an open and honest conversation with the guest about, and how you can please them in other ways. So that would be my advice to any hoteliers thinking about guest experience and guest expectations.
100% agree. It's the pre-stay communications will save your life, both when it comes to managing expectations. If you see that people are constantly surprised by something at the front desk, you need to find a better way to communicate that in advance. And if you see that, it can also be a positive thing. Like, I was disappointed that there was free Friday night yoga, but nobody told me in advance, so I didn't bring the right clothes for it, for example. It's such an opportunity. And so more than that, but we also set expectations explicitly, but also implicitly. And our hotels have been raising rates. You've seen really high rates out there. Sometimes people say they're paying double what they used to pay. And so we are suggesting that we have an elevated experience, and they expect more when they're paying $500 than when they paid $250 the last time they stayed, or whatever it was. So you can't offer less. You have a jump in revenue in ADR like that. You have to deliver to meet that expectation that was implicit.
Well, thank you, Adele.
Paula,
Thanks. Yes, sure. Who is?
Can I add a quick
add something.
quote?
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because we are talking about pre-stay interactions, and it's really important to trying to build an omni-channel overview of your the interaction journey. For example, if you call a hotel today, if you send an email tomorrow and then WhatsApp message in 1 week to close your deal, the hotel must aggregate in one profile and understand that it's the same person. So that's the omni-channel service experience that we are creating here, allowing hotels to understand that this is the same person. And the best way to offer a qualified service here is if you can keep the same agent during the entire process. So if I call today this agent, maybe tomorrow by email, I already know that this is the person, and I will direct this person to talk with the same agent to keep the same service experience. So that's the that's the how a omni-channel service platform will work to offer a better service experience.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Yeah, I think that's what Luis mentioned before about consistency and in service. Going to the next, I know a lot of people are sending us comments and some questions. I am not ignoring you. I will take it as I can between the questions here to our speakers. So I'm going to go to the next question first to Rupert. What is the biggest pain point in the hospitality industry today? We are already talking about a few of them, but your opinion, Rupert, please.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for your time. I think everyone's touching on the same pain points, or the around the human factor, consistency, all of these aspects that are absolutely essential in the guest journey, in when handling guests. But we have to look at the issue that the hotels are having, and it's already been mentioned that 60% of workers did not go back into the hotel industry. Now, we can't underestimate the damage that this statistic has had on the industry. It is so hard. It was hard to get staff pre-COVID. It's now doubly hard as a number have moved into retail. I mean, there was a fantastic experience given from Walmart there, around a great guest experience. A lot of other industries have taken people out of hospitality because they know the importance of that smile, that warm welcome and everything else. And so a lot of people have moved out of the industry. So how on earth are we supposed to get it right in hotels when you're talking about getting consistency, you're talking about training all of these different IT solutions, as a question popped up earlier. These are all massive, massive challenges. And we believe, anyway, that the easiest way of dealing with this is create a solution that drives automation, that really gives people more time. If people are spending a lot of time communicating, learning, trying to work out what is the message that they should give when selling this particular item, that consistency of message, the training on how to sell it, when to sell it, all of these things, they're really, really important. And if you can have a solution that will automate as much of that as possible, at the end of the day, it still comes back to a human element. Somebody has to deliver that service. Somebody has to do something with it, and our friends at ReviewPro will tell us how they've, once the service has been delivered, was it a good experience or not, or whatever. Those and all of the data that's pulled from post-stay is essential that you review and look at and everything else to decide whether the next offering you give is the same one or an improved one or whatever. So I really, I think we really have to look very carefully at finding ways and means of giving staff more time, because time with the guest is really essential. But let's not forget that the generation change is happening. Millennials now are very much more disengaged with people. It's all about communicating online. It's about checking in automatically and going. So that opportunity to meet with the wonderful sort of smile on the front desk, or with concierge, or at the front door, a lot of that is to some portions of the clients who are going to hotel is less important. But the experience is still really important. So when they get to their room and once they're delivered the service, or they see the offerings, or the bar is closing early, or whatever those experiences are, there are definitely ways, and that you can notify, you can pre-sell these messages, these products to clients before they come to the hotel. And the guest journey starts when the reservation is made. Don't ignore that bit from when the reservation is made to the day of arrival. You can get them to grow their expectation of what's going to be delivered in the days leading up to that. Added to the fact, if you've got a full hotel, that's great, but you've got a whole load of people there you can sell to, and people want to buy stuff. So let's be sure we're really communicating with them. We're setting the right expectation, consistency of message, and we're automating that as much as we can so that we give the staff more time and we make sure that the customer journey is a good one. So really, in summary, I guess, let's not forget, staffing issues are a massive problem, and that's what we have to address in hotels.
Yeah, Rupert, Luis is saying something here that I think goes with what you're talking about regarding the staff problems. He is in another point of view. He's saying that the major problem is not the lack of solutions. We can have all the possible tech solutions, but sometimes the staff, according to him, we don't have staff committed also to the tech solutions. Do you see this in your opinion? Are hotels fully using the potential of the tech solutions or not there yet?
Let's all be entirely honest. There are very, very few systems that anyone buys in any industry, whether it's personal, at home, or whether it's in business or whatever, where we make use of 100% of what it's doing. So the only way to try and overcome that is that the tasks that solution is trying to deliver are automated. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to worry about it. So I think Luis is absolutely right. It is a problem. People do need to address it. You do need to embrace this technology. But if you're seeing the benefit that this solution gives you, if it's really enhancing your job and making your life easier, you're going to embrace it. The problem is, we know with a lot of legacy systems and some systems, they've been very hard work to implement, very hard to maintain, and people lose interest and disengage with them. But if you can find solutions that are absolutely making your life easier, absolutely delivering revenue, etc., hey, why wouldn't you embrace it?
Yeah, I think that Rupert touched the point. If the solutions make your life easier, you will embrace it for sure. Luis, to me, is making an interesting question, of course. But as Rupert was saying, if the systems are not user-friendly, if they don't make your life easier, and I think most of the staff are responsible, and they enjoy to see that they are doing a good work. I always start on that principle. So on the fast track world, on a fast track that they have to answer the questions and to attend a lot of people that are on your reception, on your desk, on your PC or whatever, on your smartphone. If the systems don't help you, it's almost impossible that you get them committed. But if they do help you and they elevate the level of your work, you will get people committed. And Luis was just, Paula, if I am taking much time, just tell me. Luis Tomé was also saying that bad data is worse than no data. The question is, and we did a study here we studied like 3 million of guests profiles, and we found out that only 16% of those 3 million emails fulfilled. We are not allowed to see if the email is correct due to GDPR rules, of course. So only 16% we saw in 3 million profiles have an email there. If it is correct or not, I can't tell you. It's true what Luis Tomé was saying. There is a lack of data. The system can be, if we have a wonderful CRM tool, but if you have only 16% of emails that are there, so you are missing 84% of your database, of your guests that were on your hotels. So how can we improve that? So I think this connects with what Rupert was saying. Systems must be better, must be easier, must be automated. so that the staff can have some advantage of using it well. It's not easy. Sure, Luis that put the question is right. It's not an easy thing to do, but I think, as Rupert was saying, mindsets are changing. So I think things are going that way. Well, that's our opinion, my opinion.
I think also that that is so true. If it's not easy and if it's not beneficial, they won't adapt to it. But also, it is the job of leadership to inspire the team to all be driving towards the main goal, that they're here to provide great experiences. They're here to make sure everything is wonderful. And so if they start to identify themselves as the kind of people who want to do everything possible to make sure every guest is happy, and that we communicate really well to every guest, if they see the benefit of that, if they see the happy guests thanking them, for the last 2 years, our teams have been abused by guests and leadership sometimes as well. And that is one of the reasons that they left, if not the reason. And every time that you don't, as Danica said, communicate pre-stay the reality of what the experience is, and think through, okay, well, if I don't have this, what can I offer to make that change a positive for them? If you, every time you don't think about that in advance and put that in the pre-stay, that disappointed face that arrives to your front desk with that unpleasant, unwelcome surprise, that is a negative for that employee as much as it is for the guests themselves. So we're contributing to it when we're not taking action to protect our team from having to deal with issues that we could have foreseen in advance. And it's so important. And at the same time, if we inspire them with how to give great experiences and how good it feels to make people happy and how marvelous it is to say, you guys are the best, you are so nice, so wonderful and everything, as opposed to this venom that we're getting, which really has happened in the last few years, that will change the employment culture. And if they see also that you're now sharing with them how the hotel works, you're asking them, what can we do to solve these problems? What can we do to make you more successful at making people happy? Once we show the employees what it feels like to be cared for, appreciated, and respected, they're going to be able to show the guests what it feels like to be cared for and appreciated and respected.
But can I add to that, Adele? Because I think sometimes, like I went to a hotel and it was literally, there was 5 people in the morning queuing up to checking out. There was one receptionist and she was on the phone with octopus arms. So sometimes in the hoteliers' realities, they do not even have the time to be even to say, good afternoon, Danica, how was your stay? Can I just double check your email address? So what we're seeing is you need to eliminate the noise, like Rupert said, through automation. Like, you have no option in today's world. We did a piece of research, a European hotel chain, 32 hotels. 68% of all inbound communication coming to the front of house and reservations came from the same 8 questions. What time is breakfast? How far is the airport? Do you have free Wi-Fi? Is that really good? I can empower my receptionist as much as I want to give her the intelligence and the autonomy to understand the guest. But if she's having to pick up the phone and answer 50 emails confirming what time breakfast is every day, you're always going to, she's not happy, the guest is not happy, and nobody knows what's going on. So like Rupert says, we have to look to automation. We have a chatbot. There's lots of great providers out there. Automate that, alleviate that, reduce that noise. Why Why have somebody at a 5-star hotel pick up the phone and answer what time breakfast is 10 times an hour? It's just not good use of our resource. And that's what the industry has to look at today. How do I keep my staff and guests happy and have automation as part of that mix? And I don't see how hotels can operate without that mix and that strategy.
1,000% right. And it doesn't degrade the guest experience. It lifts it. You know, I went to a hotel where I normally am used to getting free coffee in the morning, but I heard nothing about it. So I used the text message thing to say, where can I get coffee in the morning? And a human texted back saying, in the restaurant. So I said to my husband, oh, I can't believe this hotel is not giving free coffee. They're totally forgetting their brand promises and everything. I'm just going to go to 7-Eleven. He said, don't you dare go to 7-Eleven. You go down there and you buy the coffee. I don't care if it's $6. So I went in there. Guess what? It had free coffee. You know what if it was a text message that was automated, it would have said, good morning, Miss Gutman. We serve complimentary coffee for you between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. every weekday. And on the weekends, it's from 7:30 until 11:30. Please let us know if there's anything else you need. If an unstressed machine could have given me a more hospitable answer, it would have been better. Am I right?
Yeah, you are right, Adele. Thanks everybody for all the insights and having some comments on the chat
Paula,
as well. Yes.
Can I only add something here? Adele was talking about the importance of the team engagement and so on, and something that I really believe is that all departments in a hotel should have clear goals, including all people should have clear goals, including those related to customer satisfaction, upselling, and so on. And when they achieve those goals, we need to celebrate as a team. This is how team engagement and results happen, when it comes to people. And I totally agree with Adele, but I just would like to add this sense of data-driven and results-driven culture. That's really important for team engagement.
Thank you, Rodrigo. And so like I'm saying, we're talking about reputation. You guys are doing great. You have a lot of great reviews here on the chat. People saying, well said, to Rupert, to Adele as well. Thanks everybody that is engaging with us. Let's go to the next question then. And it's Rodrigo, it's for you, the next question. So currently, only a few hotels have resisted adopting AI and chatbots as service options because they think it can negatively affect the initial customer experience. So what data can you share with us to demonstrate the contrary?
Yeah, in fact, I believe that the customer experience starts prior to the reservation. So usually the first impression is what matters most when you are buying something. But as I seen in many areas of our daily lives, we commonly, when it comes to customer service, we commonly prefer self-service options. In most countries, and the US is one of them, people don't want to depend on others to get what they need. So when we use the ATM, fill up our gas tanks, or even place an order at McDonald's, check in at the hotel, we most of the time prefer to do things on our own, using machines. But we always have the option, of course, to, of the human when necessary. We need to as a hotel to provide both options. As our time is our most valuable asset, in fact, people don't really care if we are using the machine or human interaction to get our needs met. All we want is to solve our own issues as fast as possible. And when it comes to the online environment, it's no different. So today, 85% of our chats occur through mobile interactions and only 15% via desktop. So in the mobile experience, it's difficult to get every information you need by browsing a hotel website, for example. So that's when an AI chatbot or any other self-service option can ensure that a traveler never leaves the website without their questions being answered first. Because most of the time, I don't want to make an international phone call to know what's the check-in time, for example. So I want something quick, cheaper, and so the issue is that oftentimes many companies are offering generic AI and chatbot solutions with an understanding rate lower than 10%. So it provides a terrible user experience. So when you ask for something, it doesn't understand your question. So people who previously try this kind of solution in other segments were repelled by the word chatbot sometimes, but an AI focus in only one market, that's what I believe allows the understanding rate to reach more than 90% in some clients. So in fact, when hoteliers see this kind of solution in action, most of the time they are surprised by how advanced it is, in terms of interaction. In addition, we have assisted more than 30 million travelers, with our platform, with 58% of chats occurring outside business hours. So what kind of service experience are you providing outside business hours? That's an important issue. So that's why the rationale here is clear. You can have an AI reservation agent available 24/7 with instant responses in multiple channels, because today the customer are online on WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram messaging, email, phone calls, a lot of different channels, and you need to be available for instant responses because that's their expectation, and you need to be able to offer the service in many language, in their native language. So that's why we will continue to see the growth of AI, of course working together with humans to improve the service and customer experience, and even increasing reviews score, because as I mentioned, the experience starts since the first contact. So that's what I believe.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Yeah, I think it's a huge challenge, as many of you has already mentioned, especially labor shortage, and then you have labor shortage and multiple demands, and you have there the hotelier trying to figure out how to do the best way. I think Rupert was the one that was talking about automation and things to automate things that you can automate. So I think maybe it's a change of mindset to what is considered an experience. It's not being it's not a human doing fast check-in. That can be done by a technology. The experience, it's so much more than this. It's much more complex than this. So yeah, someone is saying here in the LinkedIn, lately, it goes to what Rodrigo is saying. Lately it has to be a humanized experience. This is the core hospitality, but it's essential to move towards automation to free the team from some tasks and overcome the fact that there is even more lack of employees in the market than was pre-COVID. And I think, Rodrigo, that you were talking to is like, it's not that we don't like chatbot or other solutions, We just don't like when they don't work. If they work,
Yeah.
then we love it, right?
Can I add, I think it's really important to look at data to support those decisions. Like, Rodrigo, we hear exactly the same thing, especially in the luxury segment. Chatbot, AI, my owners will kill me if I take that to them. Then you have to ask yourself, when we talk about the human element, like, you know, is it okay that you ignore your guests when somebody writes to you asking, "What do you have free Wi-Fi?" Is it a luxurious human experience to respond 18 hours on a messaging channel? So it's kind of like, you know, we need to, you know, stop looking at it as a technology and what is the solution it's going to bring? Can it help improve? And, you know, and it's great. Like, we have a messaging and then we also have AI, and some of our luxurious clients have been really adamant they don't want to do the AI chatbot. So we help put workflows to help them. And then when they see the data for itself, it's like, okay, you've now been live for 3 months on guest messaging, and unfortunately your resolution time is not hitting the KPIs that you set. So now you've got the evidence to make that strategic decision, to go to your owners and say, this is why we need to implement AI. And I think, you know, there's a lot of cool providers out there that can provide that confidence, to give the hotel the confidence to go, okay, we're ready for AI, let's go, let's make it work. And so I think letting data speak for itself, it can help kind of educate and give people that confidence that's needed.
I think sometimes if you put in a high-level executive in the reservations department for one day trying to assemble all the different pictures of the hotels and how much it is for the length of stay with the taxes and and different packages that are available, and try to put that in an email, I do that all day long. And you're going to see there's a lot of drudgery there. And the AI can do it more beautifully, more graciously, more presented in a delightful, pleasing way, and your human can just put the love on top of it, you know, make that personal connection, but send something that was put together quickly, and they will be happy to not have that drudgery.
Yeah. Again, thanks everybody for all the comments. I'm trying to keep it up with you. You guys are writing a lot here. Pat is saying that's why you have virtual service, less costs, and still human. Yeah, it's never a matter of choosing each of one of them. Ivo is saying something here that I think it's anyone that would feel like to answer. Is not directed to any one of you specifically, but I think everybody here that's at least a tech provider could say something. The perspective of being convenient also for the hotelier, the solution being convenient for the hotelier. We were talking before being convenient for the guest experience, right? But now the other side of the coin here, he's saying with so many hotel tech companies emerging, most offering similar solution, it's hard for an employee to be excited to work with a new solution every few years. And there is a lot of issue with integration. I think the main point here is, thank you, Ivo, your detail, you very, very much your comments, and thank you. But what he's trying to say here, that it's hard because they are not integrated. I think we're seeing that the industry it's moving forward more and more towards integration. So I would like to ask the tech providers here if they want to say something about like hotelier, like Ivo is saying. So to sum up, I feel like we were currently bombarded with different solution providers that do not all work with each other. So defense time for the tech providers here. Yeah, please, if anyone wants to go.
So, okay, well, I'll jump in here because I referred to this right at the very beginning, I think, and I think it's a really important point that, you know, it's all very well and good having a good solution to address a small part of the organization, but as we've all stated, you know, where these systems work really well is when they're integrated together and we work in harmony with one another. Now, of course, it's not that long ago that, you know, in hotels, the core system is often considered to be the property management, the PMS system, which is the storage of the, not all the time, and we can talk about CRSs and CRMs and various other things, but they were all premise-based solutions, and getting integrations to all of those was terribly challenging. The structure that they are, the cost of replacing those solutions was expensive as well, and so therefore people weren't buying the newer technology. A lot of the solutions today are coming out that are cloud-based, or API-driven, and everything else. And it's something that we find. Our relationship with ReviewPro has worked very well, because again, that integration level is strong and robust and everything else. But I mean, it can't be underestimated, the pain that a lot of hoteliers are still feeling because of poor integrations that are still out there. And my sympathy goes out to them, because it's frustrating, it's time consuming, it's delivering poor information. But I can say, as a technology provider, and everyone in this room, actually this virtual room, is of the same sort of mindset, where we are all absolutely improving the technology constantly, which drives the other question that one of the viewers was asking is, why do I need to change my system so often and everything else? Well, you shouldn't need to change the systems. They're just, the systems you have should just be enhanced all the time. So, and again, the latest technology allows for all of that to happen. Everyone's totally familiar with, they're using their phone, their smartphone, their Apple iPhone, whatever it is. All these technologies, they're constantly improving, but the foundation has got to be right in the first place. So get the foundation, or the building blocks of what your tech stack in the hotel is going to look like, whether it's reviews, upselling, PMS, whatever it is, AI, all these, all this stuff. Get that foundation right. And then, and that foundation will mean that they do integrate well together, and it means you'll then have a very flourishing, complete platform within the hotel. So bear with us, I would say, and to those that are not there.
I mean, you only have to walk through WTM's travel corridor and it's so overwhelmed. We all have similar colors, similar icons. And you're like, so you do this and you do that, but they also do that. And who are you? What's your name? And we get mixed. And so I think as well, like to add to Rupert's point about the integrations, I think when choosing your supplier as a hotel, that you always go for best of breed. With our platforms, yes, you could use them for CRM functionalities, but I always say to my clients, like, absolutely not. That's not what we do. I can introduce you to CRMs that do that very well, but that's not what we do. We do guest experience. So I think, if you're looking for pre-stay, book direct, go to, talk to companies like Upsell Guru or OAKY or Triptease. If you're looking for CRMs, talk to Serenite, etc. So best of breed, I think, and then getting the best of breed partners to work together. Then you've got your full suite of technology providers doing what they do best, but working together.
Oh, thank you both. I think you did a good job defending our side of the story. We are heading towards the end here. We still have time for a couple of questions. I'm gonna go next to Deepak then. Deepak, no, sorry, you're gonna go to Adele. Sorry, Deepak, I read wrong. So sorry. Why do so many hoteliers struggle with reputation, and what could they be doing differently to be more successful?
There are really so many practices that people believe are the correct thing to do, and actually you work on them believing that the way you were shown it is going to give you some results, and wonder why it doesn't. It's like calories in, calories out. Now people know there's much more to it than that if you want to be fit. Well, this is one misunderstanding, is that when you read a review, reputation management means that you respond to that review, and that is one person is responding to that review. And that is your reputation management. Check the box. But that really isn't what it's about. It's got to be a team sport. You have to read what happened. You have to talk about it with your team, because if you're the only one who is writing that review, you're the only one responsible for reading and responding to that review. You don't have your whole team with their skin in the game. You have to do it. You have to look at it and say, what's the root cause of the problem? As Deepak has said before, what are possible things that we can do to solve the problem? What's the smallest little modification that we can possibly make that can perhaps relieve this issue so that it won't happen again this afternoon or tomorrow or next month? And always just be breathing in feedback, processing, talking to your team. How can we do better tomorrow? And coming up with ideas and just implementing the smallest, sometimes the simplest solutions can make such a big difference. And then you write your response, and that says, I've gone up to that room with my engineer and housekeeper, and we found out that this is the problem. And not only are we going to fix it in that room, we're going to, over the next week, double check all the rooms to make sure that doesn't happen to other people. Now your reputation is better than before you had that complaint, because now people see you as a responsible company who cares about the guests so much that you've taken action already to take care of other people. And if you want to do something for that guest, on their next day, give them an upgrade or something, whatever. But really, very often we say, oh, I'm really sorry that happened to you. That isn't the norm. I hope you'll come back and give us another chance. Nobody cares about that response. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your effort. It's never going to accomplish anything. If you instead say, thank you for letting me know, this is what we did internally to respond, and I appreciate, and I'm so grateful to you for letting me know. Please contact me personally. I want to meet you and look after you on your next day. That's reputation cultivation. You're elevating those people. The people who read that response are going to be more impressed even than if nothing had been complained about. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do, and I think that again, a lot of hotels, I at least my personal experience is that they do care about the review rate, but they don't actually do anything about it. That it's being said, so they maybe answer there online, but they actually don't take any action. I don't think. Yeah.
You know what? That's a great point, Paula, because they're confused. Sometimes they're interested in the score, but they don't understand that score is simply a measurement of how well your operation is running. So if you're the GM and you think you don't have time to listen to feedback about your operation, but you're the head of operations, it is your job. It is your job. And it is also equally the director of sales, marketing, revenue a job, because a complaint can sometimes be resolved operationally, and the other half the time can be solved through communication. And you don't know which one it is until you both look at it together, because the GM will not really always grasp that it's a communication issue if you don't have the people who are actually doing the communications.
Yeah, thank you, Adele. Like I said, we are unfortunately heading towards the end. We still have 20 minutes, but I wish we had longer time, because it's a lot to cover. I have some question here that are gonna go to Deepak. Actually, I think it's an interesting and new approach. Gamifying reputation management. How does one do that, Deepak? If you can explain to us a little bit.
Okay. So when we all build a product from scratch, right, our aim is to get our consumers hooked to the product. I mean, there are multiple books and theories written about how can I get each of my customers, employee to come and log in day and day out and get the 100% benefit out of it. I was just alluding to the fact that Lewis brought this up, that you can have whatever technology you want. Lewis Tome, sorry, in the comments that I was seeing, you can have the best of technology, but if it doesn't attract or get your employees to use it, then what's the point about it, right? So if you kind of step back and try and understand, why would an employee use my technology when I've deployed it in the hotel? And I think of it as there are three reasons why they would do it. One is, I've got an intuitively world-class product with me that you open and you fall in love with, kind of utopian. A world-class product, on version 1 or version 2, it's a continuous improvement process. I, as an employee, am personally getting benefited by that product, rather than at an organization level. Of course, at an organization it's important, but I, in my role, am getting impacted by it. Or the third, and I think that is happening largely, is that there is a serious top-down employee saying, hey, you got to use this. Now, all of these solutions typically don't help the usage of the product as much. So while you want all of your everybody in the hotel to look at your solution and kind of use it very often, it doesn't happen. It's kind of, again, like I say, utopian. So, and then you look at a solution that a lot of us bring to a hotel, right? I mean, how much ever you want to kind of make it look colorful and nice. I've spoken to a lot of middle management, entry level staff, etc., who think of a solution that's providing review intelligence, guest intelligence, feedback management, etc., to be more of a pain in the neck, because some customer is complaining, my GM is going to write me a stinker, and he doesn't understand the problem, so he's going to take me to the cleaners because I've messed up where he doesn't understand the problem, kind of thing. So the acceptance of a product like ours a lot of times is that much more challenging, unlike a PMS or a channel manager, etc., which is necessary. So which is why I believe, and I was also referring to, I think, another comment that I saw Ivo mention as well, that how do you encourage more people to use a product like ours, where there is probably 60% criticism at times, right or wrong, that's different, and maybe 40% praise, or whatever the ratio is in the case of your hotel. Because I think usually what you see in reviews, especially coming from online sources, is either people are saying the best thing or they're saying the worst thing, and there are very few who write something objectively right in between, and those are the reviews that we of course love. But then how do you kind of get people to encourage and use this? And that's why I think if we can gamify a solution like this from a senior management level and get employees excited about using this product, then it could encourage more usage. It could benefit the hotel at every level. Like I was giving an example, like how can my doorman know the relevance of my target for this month, and how can he contribute to it, right up to the general manager. And these could be small things. I mean, of course, you can have cash bonus, etc. You could have departmental bonus, etc. So what we've again seen is, how can we allow each user or each department to have some kind of a milestone that they can put into their performance. And this can be done at a product level, and say that, hey, as the general manager or whatever tells the head of housekeeping, hey, today you are at 74% on 100%, and your competitor is at 80 or 82 or whatever. I want you to get your team to be aligned to getting me 82% by the end of the next 3 months. And if you do that, here are 3 things or 2 things that happen to you. And we, as supporting this mission, should be able to consistently give benefits to that department, who, if they grow from, let's say, 1% or 2% or 3%, are sending them, encouraging notes, gamifying the whole process as much as possible, maybe give them certificates, gift coupons, or whatever that can go out of our budget insofar as growing the usage of the product is concerned. So I think that's one of the ways that we can kind of ensure more usage of the product. And obviously, once the product gets used more often, there are benefits that you can drive. And in gamification is really critical in a business like ours, which is in some ways looked at as a negative connotation in the hotels, in the middle and junior management. And I'm glad to, in some sense, a lot of people talking about it in the comments.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's quite a new approach for some of us, and it's really interesting perspective. So I pretty appreciate your insights here. We are really, now I'm talking for 20 minutes that we're towards the end. We are actually at the final minute. I'm gonna have a final question to everybody. So I think everybody can add something to the question. So we're gonna go around the last round. So what are some pre-arrival strategies hoteliers can use to improve the guest experience and profitability? We can start with you, Danica, please.
Okay, I think it really depends on what are your pain points as a business. I can talk to 5 competitor hotel chains, and they all have 5 different use cases and needs. So, you know, if your strategy and your objective is to drive pre-stay upselling initiatives, then absolutely you need to look at technology providers like OAKY and ReviewPro to help deliver that with automation, with personalized, really cool and creative personalized upsell packages that you can then make sure that you can communicate efficiently, pre-stay, pre-arrival, and then also deliver in the in-stay and post-stay stage. If, for example, you are at the point where, you know, for example, we spoke to one client, and because their reservations team are getting so bogged down with those frequently asked questions, they're missing out, you know, in their inbox, the meetings and events for a booking for 50 rooms, you know, for 10 nights, because it's stuck in the inbox amongst 10 frequently asked, what time is your breakfast? So again, in terms of driving profits and revenues, you need to look at automation to how, like we said earlier, to kind of alleviate that noise in order to find those cherry-picked opportunities. Just the same as reservations, you know, if you're a hotel chain and I've got 3 hotels in New York, I want to have my reservations agents have the time to answer on the phone to that guest. Okay, let me tell you the difference between the 3 properties. And again, look to have a chatbot and AI alleviate the frequently asked questions. So I think it really depends on what is your strategy as a hotel, what is your pain point, and what is your objective, and then really deciding what technologies can support you there. You know, we also do outbound communication. So we have some hotel chains that really want to look and create these memorable touch points throughout the guest experience in terms of communication. That's a very different strategy to, you know, alleviating frequently asked questions at reservations. So I think you need to be quite clear and try and, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So really take baby steps, focus on your immediate pain point, and then grow to be able to, you know, fully support the full guest journey in driving revenue and delivering guest operationally, you know, guest experience. So I think it's a super, I mean, I'm sure everyone in this panel agrees, working in this industry for the vast amount of years we all have behind us, I think 2022 is literally the most exciting time to be talking to hoteliers about the future of guest experience. And I think the fact that we're all working together more and more, you know, hotels are doing really cool creative initiatives. I'm really excited for us to maybe do this next year and bring some use cases of all of the cool things that hotels are doing regarding pre-stay arrival, you know, even what Rodrigo said, the looking and the booking, how to influence that stage. So I think it's a really exciting time, and I'm really hopeful for the industry and what we're all going to achieve together this year.
Thank you so much, Danica. I'll go to Rupert, then your final considerations about strategies to improve guest experience and profitability. Rupert, I think you're mute. Yeah.
Thank you. I think a lot of it's just been said then. I mean, the important piece here is, remember, this isn't, when people go in and stay in a hotel, it's not about a reservation as such. It's about an experience, okay? And so let's be creative about that experience. Let's remember that, you are going to enhance that guest experience, not just purely from what sits in the hotel, but also from what sits outside of the hotel. So you've got options to sell experience outside of the hotel as well. So really enhancing the guest journey. So be creative is what I would say. Make sure that whatever you're offering is hyper personalized. Let's not give people loads of choice. Let's keep it really simple, but let's be creative with that offering. Let's make it personalized. Really importantly, let's automate that so it's not a huge task on the staff that sit in the hotel. And more importantly, let's make sure it's measurable as well. So once we do all of this stuff, we can see how successful it is and know whether we're going down the right track or whether we need to change and do something else. So I'll keep it simple, as I said, measure it, be creative, and make the most of this.
Thank you so much, Rupert. And I go to Luis now then. Same question goes to you, strategies to improve guest experience and profitability.
Well, I can only add something because Danica and Rupert already make the big picture. So, but I would say that to join that factors of success and to bring profitability in the pre-arrival, I would say to gather data about the guests. It is possible to gather more data through several data sources. It's not something, I'm sure that's something that's going to have a huge evolution. So when Danica was saying that it is I think, correct me if I'm wrong, a very exciting year. I think it's a very challenging year also, because technology must make giant steps, in my opinion, to have those bottlenecks solved, like integrations, like APIs. I saw in one of the comments, the solution is free APIs. Well, for some of us that are at so many years in the industry, it's not that easy. That's a good intention. It's technologically easy, but it's not easy to implement when you have such different companies, different strategies, different goals, different countries. Competition is there. We can't forget that. Healthy competition, yes, but it's there. So it's not that easy, but it's possible. Of course, I think the things will have a great evolution. I think that when you have a guest that was never before in your property, you need to know all that you can about him. All that you can about his life, his profile, his his tastes, to make that experience personalized and a very unforgettable experience, because we want him to return to our property. I think that the technology can help on that for sure, but there are a lot of challenges there. Good challenges, of course.
Thank you so much, Luis. I go next to Rodrigo then, same question. Some pre-arrival strategies hoteliers can use to improve the guest experience and profitability.
Yeah, great. So again, my topic is related with the pre-stay experience, where we are. So since the pandemic, we have seen in our customer base at least 20% increase in service requests, either via email, social media, messaging apps. So this means that travelers are not only researching your hotel, but they want to make contact and get additional info about the region, etc. And oftentimes when it happens, the experience is not appropriate. So the staff only provides the information, or even you don't get the answers. And here what we believed is implement a sales science, so we believe in sales pitch, in upselling pitch, following up proposals. So there is a lack of sales training, of service training, and technologies and processes in reservation teams, in front desk teams, that could lead to a better customer experience and to a profitable operation. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what we believe here.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. Next, go to Adele then. Same goes to you. Guest experience, last final considerations about guest experience and profitability.
Well, if you look at every observation, every bit of critical feedback or positive feedback to be an invitation, an opportunity to inspire creativity, innovation, and a continuous improvement, that is just so important. Every time you get a piece of criticism, to look at it and say, is there something that I can change on my website, on my booking engine, on my pre-stay emails, on my FAQ page? How can I prepare if I have the same questions all the time, whether I use AI or not? It still may come to my front desk. Do I have blog posts exploring that, why is this hotel a good place, going to be a good place for my children, and all the reasons why, and all the facilities that you have in the area? Have that blog post pre-done so that the person can just send back a quick note, or immediately print it out, or send it to them in some way, or add that to the pre-stay email if you know that they're going to be 2 parents and 2 kids in the room, for example. There are so many things that you can do, and we need to completely take everything as this opportunity for improvement, and we need to hear from the employees, because they see more of the hiccups in the system, more of the disappointing faces than we do. And we need to, not just for the sake of our guests, but also to protect our employees from dealing with stress that is unnecessary. Protect those employees by giving them a toolkit that they can use to solve problems, and the freedom from fear to do what they need to do to get that job done.
Thank you so much, Adele. And last but not least, Deepak, same question goes to you about final considerations about guest experience and profitability, please.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, sure. So I remember a book that was written by this amazing travel visionary called Hal Rosenbluth, who used to run a travel company called Rosenbluth Travel, which got acquired by Amex. The title of his book was "The Customer Comes Second." And it was obviously a bestseller because the title was, very interesting, in which he explains that you take care of your employees and they'll do a kick-ass job of ensuring that your customers are fine. Okay. So through this conversation today, I've tried to kind of put that as a core philosophy that hotels should probably bring into fore, because yes, like I said, guest experience is paramount in our business. I mean, we can't be in business if we are not able to do those right things that everyone's speaking about. That how do you have a great pre-check-in experience? How do you have a during stay process? How are you making sure that during stay there is enough happiness with the guest that when he or she goes out, they're going to give you a positive advocacy in social media sites, etc. That is standard. We have to do that well. But how do we take this conversation to the next level to make sure that your guest experience becomes awesome and that leads to profitability, is to bring in your team into picture, your employees into picture, and make sure that that there is enough voice that is heard about them, and 2 is that if it isn't, then how can you incentivize and help them to get excited about being nice to their customers. And if that is done, then I believe everything else will fall in place, because we already have enough and more solutions, data, everything which is guest facing, but we don't have enough which is employee facing.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Well, so this is it. The time is up. I want to first of all give a big thanks to the audience. They really engaged with us. There are many comments there that I didn't have the time to interact. I apologize for that, but thank you so much. They were watching us. Special thanks to all the speakers that are here with us in this forum. Thank you again. Thanks for the sponsors of Travel Tech. And if you want to know more about Travel Tech and to stay tuned for the next forum, please check the website traveltech.space. So thanks everybody, and have a great rest of the day. And that's it. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paula. Great job.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Everyone.